Alright, hello Dr. Cundy. This is me doing my video discussion on Rebecca in the book. So, for today's reading, I found it interesting that Rebecca was very childlike. Her grandmother referred to her as childlike in some ways. She couldn't figure out how to open a door with a key. She couldn't find her way around the block without getting lost. And she would spend hours trying to put the wrong glove on the wrong hand or the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. She had to have everything told to her verbally. She was more able to function and comprehend with words, and she was always better with verbal everything, even on the IQ test that Dr. Sachs gave her. She was more able to function and be like an adult in certain ways than if she were to just be sitting around the house like every other person during the day. She'd act like a child. My one question I had was, what did Sachs call Rebecca when he first met her? He called her a multitude of aproxies and agnosias, a mass of sensory motor impairments and breakdowns, limitations, or intellectual schemata and concepts similar to Piaget's criteria to those of a child of 8. That's a direct quote from the reading. Another thing I found interesting was that Rebecca was his first patient at his clinic to help him see that the psychology tests that they were using were testing only to emphasize on setbacks and skills that patients lack, and they weren't trying to see things that caused the patients to be brilliant in their own ways. He met her twice on he met her on 2 occasions. Once when he saw her in a clinic and she was very childlike, and then once in nature just outside the clinic in the garden, and he said she was very literate, very open. She was able to ejaculate words that were related to the concept that she was trying to get across. And he realized that she was more than just her faults, and that she could actually amount to more if she were in a verbal, theatrical kind of environment. Like I said, it was a real eye-opener for him that she was able to do all that, and also that she was his first patient in this clinic to open his eyes to the fact that the psychology test was testing her faults and not necessarily what needed to be tested to see what they could do to help her improve and better herself as it was as a whole. When her grandmother died, she had a very different experience. She was, instead of being the happy, uplifting person she normally is, or was, Rebecca became very depressed, very tragic, and very, what is the word I'm looking for? Very frozen in time, basically. She would repeat things like, "It's winter, I feel dead, but I know the spring will come again." She grasped the concept that she was mourning and that she would again feel okay, but at that moment in time, she was not feeling 100%. Which brings me to my next question. Which comes first, the narrative or the natural forms of illustration as a person. Sachs says, and though equally natural and native to the expanding human mind, the narrative comes first as spiritual priority. So that is basically saying that children are going to develop narrative skills, like telling stories, being told stories, before they develop their natural skills, such as explanations and being able to comprehend things at a higher level. So in this way, Rebecca was a 19-year-old and still acted like a child. She could not explain things, she could not go into further detail about it, but she was able to narratively explain herself, which helped her to function in the world. Towards the end of the case, Rebecca was telling him about how she found out also that the tests were testing her lacks and her faults and her ailments more than helping her to find out who she really was. And she compared herself to a carpet, and I was wondering why she would compare herself to the carpet. The only answer I found to this question would be that she felt that she needed a stable pattern in her life or she would fall apart. So once they changed the program that Rebecca was in, she flourished and she became a great theatrical person. They gave her a new way to express herself. She joined theater. She left her odd jobs and her odd classes. She joined theater and workshop and everything. She loved that better. It composed her, caused her to be a complete person. She was poised, fluent, and she was able to adapt to each role as they came to her. My last comment about this would be that Rebecca just needed someone to listen to, and what she needed to thrive was someone to be there and support her. Yes, her grandmother was there for her and everything, but it's different to have someone in the social world that's not your family there to support you. I feel that she needed Dr. Sachs to help her function and to help her become the person that she is today in the theater. And if the last sentence in this book says, and now if one sees Rebecca on stage for theater, and the theater group soon became her life, one would never even guess that she was mentally ill. That's the kind of support she needed in her life, because she was able to go from hating something like the odd jobs in the classes to something that she liked so much in the theater, and it was able to help her physically and mentally and emotionally, help her to see that she could be so much more than what her mental defects were letting her be. And I believe that is all I have for today. Thank you.